It's Ann Arbor's 107.1. Good morning. I'm Scott Vertical. And here with me on the line, a very special guest. And if we cover everything on his resume, it's going to take up the whole entire interview. So I will say this. He has worked with the likes of Florence and the Machine, St. Vincent, Lord, Diana Ross, the 1975, Lana Del Rey, Clairo, a young up-and-comer named Taylor Swift. He is the guitarist and drummer for the band Fun. He has won a ridiculous amount of Grammy Awards, and he's the man behind the band Bleachers, and he just got married this year. Congratulations and welcome to Jack Antonoff. Good morning, Jack.
You're making me feel good.
I guess that's a good way to start.
When I wake up, that's not what runs through my head.
Oh, no. Do you have problems where you run through all of the mistakes that you ever made in your whole entire life? You think back like to fourth grade when you said that weird thing to that guy?
I think about more like the mistakes that I'm going to make.
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, I think more into the future of what I might mess up.
Well, I mean, honestly, you've got an amazing track record so far, so I don't think you have to worry about that too much. When you are called to be a producer for someone, what do you see as the producer's job? I'm sure every producer has a different idea about this, but what do you see when you go into the studio? What do you think of as your job?
I mean, the most basic sense of it is to take an idea or a feeling and in a way that it becomes the least messed with, the most unadulterated way, have it exist.
Okay.
In song form or album form, which is really, everything starts with ideas.
Sure.
Even if you're playing something and you kind of write something on the spot or it then sparks an idea of what it could be. And so the production is delivering something in its best form.
Okay.
And what's funny about it is that there's really no rules to what that can look like. There's no amount of time or money or instrumentation you could throw at something to have it be in its best form. Sometimes its best form is very small, singular recording, just one instrument and one voice. Sometimes it's a million things. Sometimes it's a combination. So the work is all about having a gut feeling about something and protecting it when you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, your gut seems to be treating you well so far. Talking about going in and finding the purest form of something. I'm fascinated by the fact that not only do you work with Taylor Swift, obviously, who writes these arena-pleasing anthems and songs and these amazing things that 80,000 people can sing along with, but you work with Clairo as well, and she's more known for like her lo-fi bedroom pop sound. Does it mess with your head going from one to the other, or is it the same job no matter who you're working with?
No, it's all. I mean, there's very few people that listen to. There might be no people that listen to one genre of music.
Right.
Who really like music. I'm not talking about the person who comes home from work and maybe just like throws on some classical music to calm themselves. People who are real fans of music. Long before streaming, their record collections are really varied, and production is just a way, as we've all experienced, hearing like the acoustic versions of songs or the demos of songs or remixes of songs. You can kind of dress something up any way, and so it's not very different to me. And also, it's like, I don't know. I feel like on any day-to-day basis, your mind and what you're feeling can vacillate so much. It's
Sure.
It's the same way that it's easy to hear maybe a Nina Simone song to an Outkast song,
right,
into a Jason Isbell song is the same way that I could, jump from instrument to instrument or project to project.
Yeah. It sounds like this is the kind of thing that just comes naturally to you. I mean, it doesn't sound like you have like a special thing that in your head when you go into the studio, huh? It's just natural.
Well, I mean, there's no, I do it because it comes naturally. I mean, there's no secret or manual.
Right.
It's something I do and have always done. So, it's not like a process that can be like sort of like optimized or figured out. It's just kind of, it's like I've always done since I was a kid. I just record.
Okay. Do you have anybody on your bucket list that you would like to, that you'd work in the studio with, either past or present?
No, because I get there's so many artists I adore, but I don't really dream about working on music with people until I kind of know them and imagine where they're headed.
Right.
Because it's a really personal process. So it's like anyone who I love is probably because they already, you know,
They already know what they're doing. They've already
or
had.
well, no, not that.
Right.
Everyone I work with knows what they're doing. Just more like, like the desire to work with someone comes from like having a personal relationship and imagining what you could do together.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. You're.
Hopefully,
It does. It
it
does.
is how I feel. So I'd be in a lot of trouble if it didn't make sense.
Well, Jack, I validate your feelings, and I hear
Thank
them,
you.
and I hear you. Um, your tour is going to start May 18th in Salt Lake City with Samia, and she's another up and coming artist that we've played here a few times on 107.1. And how did you decide that Samia was your opening act this time around?
Oh, I just really love her work
Yeah.
and Esther.
Oh,
Quite
okay.
simply, I just
Sure.
think, I always like to bring people on tour that are kind of, you know, that are on their first or second albums,
Hmm.
kind of just earlier in the career. I always think, when I was younger, a lot of people brought me on tour
Okay.
and it made a big difference to me. And I think that that's just a nice cycle to, you know, be introducing your audience to something that is just getting going.
Sure. Tickets are on sale.
I think I mean, no, I'm there. I think it's all up.
Well, you can go to bleachersmusic.com to find out.
Yeah, where all the facts are there.
Yeah, and so part of every ticket is going to the Ally Coalition. Can you talk about why that's important to you?
Well, I'm someone if you're someone who gathers people,
Hmm.
uh, it is a pretty clear opportunity to just do something for the greater good. When I was growing up and I would go to shows, there, it'd be $5 to get in the show or $4 with a can of food. The
Yeah.
show was $7 and you had to bring a pair of socks for the homeless shelter to get in. So we do tabling and we do a lot of information and outreach and partnerships in every place that we are. So,
Hmm.
for example, like if we were in Michigan, we'd be working with the Ruth Ellis Center, which is in Detroit.
Yep. Yep.
We've done stuff with them for years. Or if there was something more local in Ann Arbor, I mean,
Sure.
there's a staff that works on this stuff are amazing. But the one thing that I've always done, I mean, since the dawn of Bleachers, every show we've done $1 of every ticket, um, which is such a everyone just loves it and gets behind it, and it's kind of one of the few things in the ticketing process that doesn't feel like there's a company trying to
Right.
uh, make it all hell.
Right. Right. And what is the Ally Coalition? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's an organization I started maybe a decade ago with my sister, and we mostly focus on uh, touring bands
Hmm.
and tabling and fundraising for homeless LGBTQ youth shelters in all the different cities. So it's just kind of grassroots organization that goes right from the shows to these shelters.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. And I honestly I don't know why more artists don't do that. I mean, plenty of them do, but it would be
Well,
nice if
a
yeah.
lot of people. I mean, the cool thing about the Ally Coalition is the way we set it up was to make it so that like um, anyone could use it.
Okay.
There's so many people that go through it now. I mean, from Frank Turner, Delaware Water Gap to Boy Genius to I mean, the list goes on and on of people that use this infrastructure
Yeah.
because it's so ready to be used, and we have local people in every place. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like just the way you grew up in music. The way I grew up going to shows is that it's a place where people gather and there's an opportunity there to talk about what's going on in the community, and that doesn't have to die from like a national or even international touring level.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in Ann Arbor
Hmm.
like I do where I live,
Right.
but I can invite the local organization to tell people what's going on.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's just a nice place to you know do some good also.
Yeah, for sure. Now, before I let you go, Jack Antonoff, we are going to play the new song "Modern Girls" from Bleachers. This is a crowd-pleasing, toe tapper, foot stomper, clap along type song that I love playing in the morning because it gets everybody's blood moving in the morning.
Yeah, I wrote it in the morning.
Did you write it in the morning?
Yeah, I did.
Because that kind of leads to my question, and something that you touched on earlier about where the sound of a song comes from. So, like for this song, obviously, I'm not complaining; it's a great song. But how do you decide that is a foot stomping, hand clapping song, and not like a quiet acoustic song with just a guitar and a piano or something? How does that switch get flipped?
Just that gut feeling, you're messing around in the studio, someone plays something, you do something, and then just that freedom of enjoying something. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That feels good. That's interesting. And then you follow it, and then all you're doing really is messing around until you have things that excite you and sound like you, or sound like the future of you, or carrying just stuff that is just this spark where you're like, that's it.
Yeah.
And you really never know what it is, and often when you plan it, you don't get there. So this one just kind of came out of thin air.
Well, that's great. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, we love playing it, and we're going to play it again right now.
Thank you so much, and I'll get my ass to Michigan as soon as possible.
Yeah, you're not on this particular tour, so I was going to give you grief for that, but hopefully you'll come back.
No, I deserve the grief, and,
yes.
and I will correct it. We'll have Ann Arbor.
Oh yeah.
New Jersey is not terribly far from there, so
right.
When you first start touring, you start branching out. Mm-hmm. One of the clubs that would have like small bands was the Blind Pig.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those places where you could like call up and actually get someone on the phone and get a booking.
I believe that's probably
because of the college, there was plenty of like floors to sleep on, so it was just a place that we all grew up going to.
Oh, that's great. Oh, okay. So you know a little bit about the town. That's cool. But we really appreciate taking the time, Jack, this morning. You're a very, very busy man. And Bleachers, the new album is out on March 8th. You can pre-order it at bleachersmusic.com. Jack Antonoff, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I hope you have a great holiday. And like you said, when you come back to Michigan, please stop by the studio. We'd love to have you in here.
I promise. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Wake up to your favorite music and Scott Vertical on Ann Arbor's 107.